Hello, Bright Thinkers. We're going to walk through the needs grading within the Teacher app. So when logged into the Teacher app, you'll have a needs grading section right to the right of the date when you log in on your home page. You'll notice that it is labeled needs grading, and you'll have a bubble with a number to indicate how many student submissions that require your attention and grading as a teacher. Anything that is student unique answers, essays, upload-based activities, labs, for example, anything that's not auto-graded by the platform is going to come to your needs grading section. The first thing you'll want to do is click right onto the needs grading. And from here, you'll have three panels. On the far left, you'll have the list of all of the current student submissions that need your attention and grading. At the very top, you'll have a filter search bar. This will allow you to search for a specific student or course or activity title. It will list out the oldest student submission at the top, and it will clump together the same activities. So if I had two of these activities in here from two different students, it would list them one right after the other. You do not have to grade from top to bottom. You may click and grade as you see fit. So I'm going to start with this middle one here. It's a mixture of manual grading on my part and auto grading by the platform. So once I've clicked onto a submission, this middle panel is going to give me the content of that student's submission. Starting at the top, I will have the student's name. If the admin team has set any accommodations for this specific user, I will get a flag to the right of their name. It'll say accommodations when hovered over. When you click onto the accommodations flag, it will show you what was chosen for that specific student or user. Underneath the student's name, you will get the course title. You'll get the activity title, the category that it falls under. You'll get a submitted date and time. If you're in a continuous course, you will get a targeted due date. If you're in a range course, you will only see a due date if you have assigned it yourself. Some of the submissions will also give you an active time spent before they click submit. To the right of the submission information, you'll have a printer icon. It'll say print when hovered over. If your device has the capability, you'll be able to click that printer icon and you'll be able to save or print a work sample for this specific submission. It'll give you the submission information at the top, and then for the question based like this one, it'll list out all of those questions, the auto graded as well as the manual graded. If it's an upload based activity, you usually will just get a preview of what they've submitted. And below the submission information will be the questions. So for this mixture of manual and auto graded, it pulled for me to the top the questions that need my attention as a teacher to provide a grade. It'll give me the question they were asked. The gray box will show me what they typed in there for their answer. Sometimes underneath the gray box you will get an example answer, or sometimes it'll have maybe feedback for the teacher. It kind of just depends on the actual activity. You may have a box where you can manually type in a score. If there is a rubric available, you can click right onto the rubric and award those points. Sometimes there will be an option per question to leave feedback. This will allow you to type in here, to add emojis, pictures, different things depending what you'd like to leave for that feedback. Below those, you can also scroll down and see the auto-graded portion, so you can see what they were asked, their answer choices, what the correct answer is, and any points they were awarded. Scrolling back to the top, you will notice in the top right-hand corner that once I provided a score for those manually graded questions, it did combine it with the auto-graded portion, and it gave me an overall score in the top right. This far right-hand panel is going to be my scoring and feedback panel. So at the top, you'll notice it auto-calculated for me, but I always have the ability to click right onto the score and change it manually if I see fit. Keep in mind it will override the auto-graded portion. Below the main score box, you'll have options for full credit, no credit. You can clear it out and start over, and you can even revert it back to the calculated. You'll have the option to save it as a draft, so if you provided scores but you're not ready to submit it, you can always save it and come back later. It'll stay here in your needs grading until you submit a score. To the right of that will be the submit button. This will submit the score that was provided and send it back to the gradebook and be calculated into the overall score. Below that, you'll have options such as excuse. When you click excuse, it's going to put an X in the gradebook. It'll excuse that from the overall score, so it won't calculate in for the student. You'll also have the option to allow a retry. Whether the student still has independent attempts or not, you'll always have the ability to allow a retry as you see fit. You'll also have the option to override complete. If there is anywhere where it was chosen to receive a passing score in order to move forward, maybe the student has tried several times or they're just not receiving that passing score but they need to move on, you can always choose override complete. It'll accept the failing score and it'll allow the student to move on. You'll also have the option to mark as missing. So if they are required to work in sequential order and you want them to go back and recomplete this activity, you can mark it as missing and it will require them to go back and complete it before they can move forward with wherever they were within the course. You may want to also allow a retry before you mark it as missing in case they are out of attempts. Below those options, you'll also have a message section. This is where you can leave feedback for the overall activity. You'll notice down here, it says enter message text here, so you can type within here. And when you type, you'll have options such as bolding it, italicizing it, you can underline it, you can change that color of the text, you can change the background color, kind of just depending on what you'd like that to look like. You can also add emojis, you can add a link if you have a link you like to provide them. You can draw something, you can insert an image, and you can drop in an image or upload it. You can add a URL for the image, or you can capture the image. So if your device is capable, you can take a picture right from your device and insert it this way. You'll also have options to add a YouTube video. So if you have that URL for the YouTube video, you can add it right here. You can insert your own video. So when you click onto that little camera looking icon or video camera looking icon, it'll give you this pop-up where you can either record if your device has the capabilities right from here, or you can upload a previously recorded message. To the right of that will be a microphone looking icon for inserting audio. When you click there, it'll give you a pop-up as well where you can record right from your device if it has the capabilities, or you can upload a previously recorded file. You'll also have other things such as inserting an equation, a table, and you can even make this full screen. Now that I have entered some content within the messages and I scroll back up, I will now have an arrow facing down right to the right of the submit button now highlighted. This will allow me to click there and send just the message. So if I'd like to send a message or feedback or something back to my student without submitting the score, I will be able to hit send message now. It'll send that feedback back to the student. They'll be able to view it within their activity stream, but it'll keep the submission within my needs grading because I did not provide a score for it and submit it. You'll notice that under the messages section, it'll keep track of any messages that I have already sent the student. It'll give me that date and time. You do have the option to create some templates within here. So if you have a similar message that you'd like to send the student and you just want to click on it and add it without typing it out every time. In the top right, you will have a speech bubble with some lines on it. When hovered over, it will say feedback templates. You'll be able to click right there. And I'm going to leave because I don't want to save the changes I've made. and it'll bring me into the feedback templates page. At the bottom left, there will be an option to create template. You will need to provide a title, and then you can put your content in the bottom area. There'll be options such as bolding what you type, italicize, underline. You can change the text color, background color, add emojis, links. You can draw in here, you can add an image or a YouTube video. You will also have the option to use variables. So you'll notice there's a notice at the bottom where you can use different pieces down here to add up here. So for example, I'm going to just copy this first one and put it up here. So for this one, what this means is it's going to take that student enrollment's first name and it's going to auto-fill it in for me plus whatever message I add. So I can have them say the student's first name and then try again maybe, or good job, different things like that, and I can add whatever I need, and I'll show you what this looks like in a moment. Or you can just type in here a normal message, whatever you'd like to use over and over again instead of typing it out each time. So I'm going to use the title in here so I remember what it is. For students' first name and the message I want to put in there. When I am satisfied with my template, I will just click done in the bottom right. This will then list it as one of my templates that I can choose from in the feedback section. So I'll click the X in the top left to go back to my needs grading. Now here at the bottom right, when I come down to my message section, I will now have the option under here to insert a template I have created. So the one that I created with the student's first name and try again, if I click there, it's going to auto-populate for me that student's first name. So the student here, their first name is Bright, and then my message of try again. That way I can just click the template and it'll auto-fill that in for me. So I can show you even if you use it on a different student's. If I use that template with a different student's first name, you'll notice that it auto-fills in that student's name. And I'll just leave and go back to my submission. When I'm ready to provide a score, once I'm satisfied with that score, I just click submit. You'll notice on the far left-hand side that it doesn't automatically remove it from my needs grading. It will stay there until I either refresh my page or I leave the needs grading and come back. But it will show me any scores I provided, feedback, so that as I'm grading, I know that I already submitted that grade. You'll notice it automatically brought me down to the next submission. And it will do that as I'm grading. It'll just bring me down to the next one. So I'll stay here on this lab. This is an example of an upload-based activity. You'll notice in the top left I have the same information for the submission as the last one. It doesn't give me active time since this wasn't upload-based. But I still have information of the submission. So student comments will appear if they have typed within the text box for this submission, or they've uploaded a picture, if they've taken a picture, it'll appear here. If they've attached anything, it'll show me a student attachments, and I might just see a link to the attachment, or sometimes you'll get a preview. When you scroll down that middle content tab, if there is a rubric available for this specific activity, it'll be available underneath my preview. If not, I'm just expected to provide an overall score in the top right. I'll have the same options within my scoring panel, so I'll still have options for full credit, no credit. I can still save it, I can excuse it, I can provide feedback. All of those options are still here, and printing a work sample is still available. You'll notice it gives me that preview, but not the full submission. Sometimes when grading upload-based activities, I don't always know what they were asked or what they were supposed to submit. So I can check to see if there was an answer key available for it right here from the needs grading. So you'll notice the activity title itself is clickable. When I click onto the activity title, I am going to click leave since I did put a score in there. I don't need to save it, so I'm just going to click leave. And it's going to bring me into the view of the student's submission, so I can see exactly what the student saw when they submitted. I can see their attachment, or if they typed right here within this submission box. But in order to see if there's an answer key available, I'll have to view it as a teacher. So in the top right, it will say viewing as, and it will give you that student's name that you're viewing it as. You'll click right onto it and you'll get a drop-down menu, and that first option at the top will be view as. When I click onto view as, I'll get a pop-up and it'll say view this activity as, and I'll want to select myself teacher and click OK in the bottom right. This will then bring me into the view of the activity as a teacher. So typically the answer key for upload-based activities are located right after the activity itself. So in the top left, I have two arrows facing away from each other. This helps me navigate back and forth between activities. The one on the right, when hovered over, will say next activity. So I'll click onto that right facing arrow, and this will bring me into the answer key if it has been made available. I can view it, I can download it, I can print it, depending on my device's capabilities. When you are done with the answer key, you'll click that arrow in the top left-hand corner to go back to your needs grading. Within the needs grading middle panel, you'll also have a few more options underneath the submission information. That first tab is going to be your content tab. To the right of that will be the score and activity history. This is going to list out all of the activity within this submission, so I can see how many times the student has clicked in and how much time they've spent in there working on it. If they've been provided a score previously, I can see any scores. If I've excused it or allow a retry, I can see all of that has been done and by who. To the right of that, I have the submission history tab. This is going to list out all of the previous submissions the student has made. So the one at the top, that version is available in the content tab and I cannot click onto it, but anything below that, I'll be able to click right onto the date and it'll show me their previous submission. So this one in particular, they just typed within the comments, so that's probably why they resubmitted, because they didn't attach that worksheet. To the right of that would be class statistics. This is just a demo site, so I don't have much data in here, but it will give you some data based upon any student submissions that have already been made for this particular activity. Within your needs grading, in the top right, you'll also have an option where it says all courses. When you click onto all courses, it's going to list out any courses that you're enrolled in as a teacher, and it will allow you to select a particular course that you'd like to just see those student submissions for. So if you have quite a few classes and you just want to grade per course, you can click right onto that and select the specific course you'd like to see the submissions for. To go back to all submissions, you'll just click right back onto it and select all courses, and then you will see all student submissions and all the courses you're enrolled in. When you're done in the needs grading, you can just click back into your main menu and click back to that home icon to get back to your home page. Your needs grading icon will update based upon new submissions or submissions you've provided a grade for. Thank you for your time today.